Hey guys, today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys some Christmas Dollar Tree DIYs that I created using the Dollar Tree pool noodles.
All those days trying to find a place where you won't make them just be alone. All those nights lying by your side, like it's a vibe, feeling it shine under your spotlight.
Now this past summer I made this Dollar Tree DIY nautical beach pier post decor with pool noodles, and you guys loved it so much. So I wanted to take this DIY and kind of give it like a Christmas feel and take these pool noodles and decorate my home kind of like a farmhouse feel with the pool noodles and kind of do the same type of effect. So I have 3 DIYs I'm going to share with you guys today on how I took some Dollar Tree pool noodles, basically made them look like logs and decorated them for Christmas. So of course for these DIYs you will need some pool noodles, and right now Dollar Tree is selling these white pool noodles during Christmas time, which is new this year, and they also have a red one and a green one. And I actually thought that this would be great to have a white one because I thought that I could skip a step and not paint it white and just go straight to the other parts of the project. But guys, I was wrong. I did this project, I did all these DIYs, I didn't paint it originally white, and once I was done it just looked like a pool noodle. So I had to redo everything, and so I just wanted to explain that to you guys so you guys would know my mistake. So all I did was I took a blade that you can get from Dollar Tree. You can have any other blade that you have at home, and I just cut the pool noodle to the size that I needed for the logs that I wanted. Now for this first one I'm going to show you guys the stackable logs, and they can be any size that really you want. I had cut them a little bit longer than I originally wanted them, and then I cut them down to size, and you'll see that they'll be a little bit shorter, but it really all depends on how long you want your stackable pool noodles. So anyways, I had originally, like I said, bought these white ones because I thought I could just go in and dry brush it and it will look good. And once I did that, I saw that the whole DIY actually looked like pool noodles. So I actually took this DIY apart, guys, and redid the whole thing for you guys. So you will see later on, you'll see that there will be chunks missing out of my pool noodles because when I took the stuff apart and I used hot glue gun, it kind of took some pieces away from the pool noodle. But it kind of made it look good because with wood, you always have these pieces missing, so it kind of looked like real wood. But I just wanted to let y'all know that there is going to be chunks missing out of my pool noodles, and they're not going to look very smooth because I took apart this DIY. Now to paint it, I used Apple Barrel white matte paint, and I say matte because matte gives that look of wood and it doesn't have that shiny gloss effect, so you really want matte white paint. It doesn't have to be Apple Barrel, but matte white paint. So right here you can see that I painted them. This is after I took them apart and repainted them, and I'm gonna show you how it looks compared to you know, just the white pool noodle. You can see that the white paint looks more like wood. It has that more wood effect, and the other one, the white pool noodle by itself, it just looks like a pool noodle. So I'm going to do a dry brushing effect to make this like wood, and I'm going to go in with Apple Barrel's Dolphin Gray because it's the lightest gray that I have, but depending on the colors that you want, you pick the color that you need. I'm going to be using this brush that I got from Dollar Tree, and it's great for dry brushing. It gives that dry brushing effect to make it look like wood, and so I highly recommend this brush. So I'm going to go in, like I said, with that light gray, and like I said, depending on the colors that you guys want, it'd be different colors if you want it to be darker or lighter, but I wanted, you know, it all white with touches of light gray because I really wanted just the light grays and whites, you know, to go with my color scheme. So as you see, I'm putting some paint off, but I'm dabbing a lot off because you do not want a lot of paint on your brush. This is a dry brushing effect, and to get that, you know, those wood grain looks to look like wood, you don't want that much paint on it. As you can see, my first stroke, I didn't take it enough off and a lot of paint did get on it, but we're going to fix that later. You can go back in with white paint, which I did, and fix it later. But you want to take your brush and just basically roll your pool noodle and just, you know, just glide the brush down to make it look like little strokes that would look like a piece of wood. You know, when you see these logs, you see like chunks missing, and you see the darker color on the little, like you see the darker colors in the little chunks because that's like pieces that have come off. So you just basically roll the pool noodle and just go around and just until you get the color that you want. And like I said, with this first one, I felt like I had too much gray on it, so I did go back in with some white paint later, and I kind of added a little bit more white paint. But you can go back and forth and decide how you guys want yours. If you want more of a darker color, if you want more of a lighter color, it really depends on the wood grain color that you're going for. And I was going for more of a white color because I felt like that was more Christmassy with just a little touches of gray, and so that's why I was trying to make sure that I didn't put that much gray. Once I was done doing those strokes, when I didn't have that much paint on my paintbrush, you want to make sure that like only like dust is on your paintbrush. That's when I went in and I kind of just filtered it around and did like the little like bright white edges, I guess you would say, but you don't want to put paint. You want to make sure that it looks like your paintbrush has dust on it, and you'll see that after you've wiped it so many times and stroked it so many times, it'll look like there's just dust of paint. And that way you just start tapping it on the other parts of the pool noodle, and it'll give it like this kind of like powdery gray white effect. I don't know how to explain it, but that's how it looks, and that way it would make it look more like wood. And as you can see, this is the effect that I was going for, because you don't want to make it look like a painted pool noodle. You want to make it look like rustic and a piece of wood, and that's what you did. Now right here I'm pointing to you guys where I show you guys where I took it apart. And that was a piece that I took apart and it took a chunk out. But I just intensified the color in there because I figured I'm going to use it to my advantage. And most wood pieces do have chunks missing out of them. So I was like, okay, all the places that I see these little pieces taken out, I'll just take a little bit of paint and kind of intensify that piece, that little break-in piece, and it will look like, you know, old wood. Because when you are doing these decor pieces, especially farmhouse, they take old pieces of wood and make these decor pieces. So this looks like, you know, some wood that has, you know, just basically been broken up or torn apart. And so I just took my mistake and made it work for me. For the edges, what I did was I wanted to make the outer edges a little bit darker and have the darker effect, because when you see the ends of a log, they'll have the darker color at the ends. And then I kind of wanted it to seep over into the paint, because then I wanted to look like, if you kind of like when you do your you take your sandpaper and you kind of rub off some paint and you want to have like those chunks missing that looks like, you know, aged wood. That's what I wanted to do. So I kind of made sure that my paintbrush kind of seeped over into the other side so that it looks like, you know, the paint had chipped, if that makes sense. But yeah, I just kept doing that back and forth until I got the color I want. And basically when you do this stuff, it's going back and forth until you get the effect that you want, because everybody's different on how they want to do stuff, especially when it comes to this type of DIY. When it comes to farmhouse, it really depends on what the type, you know, what you're going for. So here's how it looked once I was done finishing painting the way that I wanted it. And as you can see, you saw some chunks of it, pieces that were marked off on it. Like I said, yours won't look like this. If you don't like the big chunks missing, don't worry about it. Your pool noodle will not look like this. It's just like I told you guys, I did this whole DIY without painting it white first. Didn't like it, so I took it apart, and so that's why I have chunks missing. So don't worry if you don't like the chunks that are in the little logs. Don't worry about it. Your pool noodle, if you have a nice smooth pool noodle, it won't look like that. But mine did, so I had to make it work for myself. And then I was going to cover it anyway, glue the pieces back together anyway, the same spot that they were, you know, broken from, so you won't be able to see them anyway. So I'm going back in there with my hot glue gun to glue the two pieces together. And again, this is the reason why I had chunks missing, because I hot glue gun everything before, and when I separated them, the pieces got taken away from the, you know, chunks got taken away from the hot glue gun, because the hot glue gun kind of melts those, you know, the pool noodles. So that's why you see that. And then the top one, like you can see the little chunks missing there. When I glued on my floral pieces before, I had glued them on to the pool noodle with the hot glue gun, and those were, that was the spot that I had the hot glue gun on. So every spot that you see like a chunk missing is where I hot glue gunned something originally when I first did this DIY. Like I said, I went in, I just dry brushed on the white pool noodle without painting it, did the whole DIY, didn't like it because it looked like a pool noodle, and I was like, you know what, I have to paint it white first, get that matte white paint to make it look like wood. And once I did that, I was like, yes, I like it how it looks. It looks like logs to me, and it just looks way better than just keeping the pool noodle white originally. So if you have other colored pool noodles, it'll be okay, because you have to paint it white anyway. So don't worry about it if you can't find the white ones. It's just the white ones are easier to paint over. So to wrap these logs, I'm just going to take some red ribbon that I have on hand. Dollar Tree has a lot of cute Christmas ribbon, but I'm just going to use what I have. So I just took this red ribbon that I had on hand and tied it. Now you can tie it and do like some type of creative bow on it. I don't know how to do any of those creative bows. So for me, I was just going to tie it and have the effect of them tied together and not necessarily have a bow showing. Just tie it and then glue it down, and then my floral piece that I will have on top of it will cover it. So it will cover the part where it's tied. And then I was going to just have like the extra little pieces of ribbon cover some of the floral piece things that I wanted to cover up. So for my floral that I wanted to add to the top of these logs, Dollar Tree has so many of these beautiful picks right now. And so what I did was I just took 2 of them and kind of attached them together. I took like the brown pieces and kind of overlapped them on the bottom and attached them together with some zip ties. And Dollar Tree has these clear zip ties that you can get in the auto parts section, like the car section stuff. You can get these little clear zip ties to basically zip tie the things together. And then I was going to just take, you know, a little leaf, and you can just take the leaf and lap it over and you will not see the zip ties. Also, I was going to take the little excess part of the ribbon that's on the top and kind of overlap it on the zip tie as well and cover it up so nobody will see the zip tie. So I just took my little centerpiece, and then to attach it, I just used my hot glue gun. Again, like I told you guys, that's why all the chunks were missing from the pool noodles, because like I said, I did this DIY, this whole DIY, didn't like how it looked and took it apart and had to do it again. But yep, I just used my hot glue gun to glue it down, and that's basically it for this DIY. And here's how it turned out. And I know it might not look exactly like logs, but to me it looks really beautiful, and I can't wait to decorate my house for Christmas with this decor piece. For this next DIY, I did cut the pool noodles to a certain size. The larger piece, I cut it to 10 inches. The medium sized piece, I cut it to 8 inches. And the smallest piece, I cut it to 6 inches. And what I was going to create is some log candles. Now, whenever you see these log candle centerpieces, they're always like 3 different sizes and they look like stairs. And what I did was I painted these pool noodles the exact same way as I painted the first DIY. So all the DIYs are going to be painted the exact same way. That's why I'm not going to share with you the technique of painting them again, because I painted them all the exact same way. I'm just showing you different ways on how you can make these logs and how you can style them in your home. So I'm using my hot glue gun to attach them as well, and I attach the large piece and the medium-sized piece together side by side. Then I go in with the smaller piece and I'm going to attach it to the middle of both the large and the medium piece, and then you'll have that effect of like the little center piece. And then I will be wrapping a ribbon around this one as well. Now for the floral for this DIY, I took this pick that they had at Dollar Tree and decided to pick out the different things that I wanted from it, because I noticed that it was really like too big for this DIY. So I just picked out some berries from it, which they kind of came apart, so I had to put them back together. And I also picked this little green leaf that I felt like it was just perfect size for these little log candle pillars. So I just glued them on to the little log candles with the hot glue gun. On the top of these pool noodles, I already cut out a hole so that I could fit these little tea light candles that they have at Dollar Tree. I think they come like 8 or 10 to a pack. And I decided to choose these because they look more real to me. You guys can use the battery operated ones if you like, but once you put them in there, you won't be able to access the battery. So I just decided to put these in, and I don't plan to like light them because I don't know if that would be good to light them with these pool noodles. I just plan to have them as decor, but like I said, I don't plan to light them because I just don't feel like, you know, with the plastic of the pool noodle, I don't think it'll be a good thing. But to me, it just looked nicer to have these because they look more realistic and just like the decor pieces that I see at the store. And this is how this one turned out, and I have to say that out of all the DIYs that I'm sharing with you guys in this video, this one was my favorite because I feel like this one came out more realistic looking to the logs than the other two that I'm going to share with you guys. So this one is absolutely my favorite. Now this last DIY is more of like a hack that I want to share with you guys. Basically, I took the wire trash cans that you can find at Dollar Tree and I spray painted it black, and I made some extra like logs with the pool noodles, threw them in there with a Dollar Tree Christmas pick, and I feel like this will make a great decor piece next to a fireplace or in your living room or even on a tablescape. I think it's just really pretty. I would make the logs a little bit more darker because these look too white, and that's the only thing I would change is I would add a little bit more gray colors to the logs that were in the basket. But that is it for this DIY video, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I gave you guys some ideas to create some beautiful Christmas decor pieces of your own. Like I said, it doesn't look exactly like wood or like logs, but I like the way that it turned out, and I like that I could take a Dollar Tree pool noodle, something very cheap, and make a beautiful decor piece in my home. So I like how they turned out. But let me know down below which one's your favorite, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye, guys. Hey guys, don't forget to click on the picture in the middle of the screen so you can subscribe to my channel and get notifications on all the new videos that I put out, and check out these other 2 videos that I have posted on my channel on either side of my picture. Have a great day.